British Spy Stories, Season 2, The Kill Order. Episode 9. The sound of the door buzzer to Gabby's flat cuts through the air. She checks the screen from the street camera, sees it's Laravel and pushes the button to open the door. She goes to the front door of her flat and takes it off the latch, then returns to the kitchen and continues cooking. Laravel has bought wine. Gabby produces 2 large glasses and they sit on the balcony overlooking the rows of flats and houses that roll out into the distance in this part of Berlin. When the food is ready, they sit around the dining table and talk about their lives. Eventually they can't avoid talking about work. "What do you know about this man called Florin Babu that I put in my report?" says Laravel. "A lot, actually," says Gabby. "Tell me about him." "He's a violent individual. Part of the Serbian mafia. He made his early money through prostitution in his 20s. Then he got into clubs and therefore drugs distribution in Belgrade, all of which is common enough, and we would never have heard of him if it wasn't for his next move." Laravel takes a gulp of wine while she listens. "Diplomats from the embassies in Belgrade started turning up at his clubs more and more often. One of our own spooks, embedded in the British embassy, flagged it to us. They researched it a bit more and discovered Babu had invited French, German, British and Italian ambassadorial staff to the clubs, with the promise of free drinks and food," Gabby continues. "And a bit of scratching beneath the surface showed he was supplying drugs and prostitutes to them too." "I can guess what happened then," says Laravel. "Babu started asking for information about their country operations in Serbia. Business at first, then governmental. He never mentioned blackmail, but that's what started happening." "Is it still going on?" Gabby nods. "There's an operation I was briefed on to put an end to it all, but we put it on pause." "What were they waiting for?" "It wasn't a priority. They deployed more MI6 resources into other areas," says Gabby. "But this gives us an opportunity to link that Belgrade plan to Windfall. I had a discussion with Sir Bernard today." "What did he say?" "He approved an extension to Windfall. In order for us to control the migrant route, we need to ensure its security. That means we will infiltrate Babu's operations and stop him from disrupting the trucks for that specific route, as long as it's of use to the UK and our allies. Then we'll destroy it. But for now, we need it to work as an escape method for assets escaping the old Soviet bloc." "What's the plan?" says Laravel. "I'll go in undercover. London has researched Babu's immediate contacts, his trusted lieutenants, his personal life, everything. Comms branch are building me a cover story. If we can get on the inside, penetrate his network in Belgrade, we can undermine his operations with the embassy staff too." The G-force in the plane shifts to one side as the pilot turns for the final descent into the Verona-Villafranca airport. Riverside looks out at the lights dotted across the countryside of the Veneto as it stretches out to Venice in the distance. After they've landed, he walks straight through baggage reclaim in Terminal 2, as he only has one small MI6 standard issue suitcase with him. He walks out to the taxi rank where 2 cars are waiting. The city is quiet, and the journey into Verona takes hardly any time. The car drops him at his hotel in the centre. Once in his room, he unpacks the few clothing items he's brought with him, then rotates the combination locks on the case until he hears a hidden panel pop open on one side. He folds back the side of the bag to reveal a computer screen, then pulls out a satellite phone aerial. Riverside presses the power button, and the screen lights up showing the MI6 security login. He types in his credentials. The screen goes black, then a video feed appears. "Hi, Riverside," says Agent Marlin, the on-shift ops controller from London. "Hi, Marlin. Anything to report?" "Only just arrived, but I wanted to know if investigation branch had produced the analysis of Coniston's target," he says. "Hold on." Riverside gets up, walking to the window and pulling the curtains while he waits. Then Marlin comes back online. "I've got it here." "What's the gist?" he says. Marlin repeats much of the briefing that Catherine had read before going out into the night to meet Riccardo Fizzoli. "All of that resulted in the T4 that's live," finishes Marlin, referring to the MI6 reference number for a kill order. "Do we have a list of his closest contacts?" "Sending it to you now," she says. Riverside's phone lights up, showing an encrypted message received. "That list has their relevance, power, last known locations and so on." "Thanks, Marlin. I'll have a look." They sign off. Riverside closes the secret panels on the case, then lies on the bed and goes through the data on his phone. In the pack from London, there's also a satellite trace of Catherine's movements up to the point she disappeared. The tracer shows her parking up, running across the field to Fizzoli's house. Then it goes dead 4 minutes after she entered the premises. A dead tracer path means that someone has disabled Catherine's locator chip that is planted under the skin of every field agent in their upper arm. A dead tracer worries Riverside. Whoever killed or captured her has contacts on the inside to know about tracer disable codes. He makes some plans for the morning, then goes to bed. "Will they find us again, Francis?" says Morrison, as Carling cooks spaghetti bolognese in the safe house on Overgarden Oven Vandit. "I hope not, Prof." "Who were they, do you think?" "Russians, most likely," says Carling. "Or possibly Belarusians." Carling's phone vibrates and he checks the screen. "Great. Bad news, Francis?" "Good news, actually. We were going to get another warm body to help us here, but no one is around. So it's all down to me." Morrison smiles weakly, not knowing whether Carling's words are sarcastic or not. "It's not feeling very safe in this safe house currently," he says. "When are we leaving?" "No date is confirmed yet, Prof." "But surely out of my control, Prof," says Carling. "There must be something." "Look, calm down." Carling's voice rises too. "You just have to do as you're told. Like all of us." "That wasn't what I was..." "Oh, shut up, for God's sake. You're fucking alive, aren't you? We captured you off a bloody moving train and we're protecting you. Now please, just shut the fuck up." From the moment that the rear lights of the SUV had disappeared into the darkness as the man drove away, Catherine has been busy putting together makeshift weapons from objects that she has found around the house. She has stacked them out of sight so that she can easily deploy them in battle if he returns before her leg has improved enough for her to risk a walk across the mountains to somewhere safe. As she finishes preparing the last weapon, the noise of the SUV's engine rolls in again on the night air. He's coming back, but this time she's ready. The outside lights again flood brightness around the house as the car navigates through the gate from the road and onto the property. The man stops the vehicle, but doesn't get out immediately. Catherine waits in a small room that houses the washing machine on the ground floor. Finally, she hears the front door open and the man enter. The house is in darkness and he doesn't turn on any lights, but walks through the rooms with knowledge of the layout. As he passes the doorway to her hiding place, Catherine moves out into the corridor behind him. He is less than 6 feet in front of her. She holds a broom handle in her hands, which is sharpened at one end like a spear. Then she starts. She runs at him, spear down. It hits his back with the force of her momentum, penetrates his jacket, and pushes on into his flesh. The cry that comes from his lips is half shock and half pain. The broom handle doesn't stay in him, but falls to the floor with a clatter. He turns and starts to draw his handgun. Catherine puts out her arm and grabs a set of saucepans that she has hidden on the shelves next to her. She throws them one after the other, and they rain down at speed on the man's head, arms, and body. She picks up another object that she had secreted away, a kettle. Catherine advances 2 paces and swings it across to the side of his head with all the force she has. He starts to fall sideways. His handgun spins away on the floor tiles. Her final chosen weapon is stuffed in the back of her jeans. She reaches her hand around her body, swings back round and pushes a bread knife into his soft stomach.